Hey there, and welcome back to By His Grace Marriage Ministry Podcast. My name's Amanda. Shalom to all of you, and welcome back. So, this is not an episode for the Setting Boundaries series. My apologies. I will hopefully be coming forward with another episode for that series soon. I don't know why, but the series is taking me a little bit more time to prepare for it and to just really study and have some accurate things to share. A little bit of a tougher subject than what I thought it was going to be. So my apologies on that. I was able to get a first episode out, and I think it was a pretty good foundation for this series. However, I've been going over the book when I can, and I'm having a little bit of a hard time. And there's just a lot going on right now in life in general. So my apologies for that. But tonight's message is a random one, but I wanted to share this because I've been getting a lot of emails in regards to this topic and a lot of questions about this. And I have addressed it at some point throughout my podcast and probably have really just kind of interwoven it throughout different episodes. But I don't know if per se I have an episode that's dedicated to just this topic and discussing it. So I may have, and maybe I haven't. I can't remember. It's been exactly 4 days ago I made a year on this podcast. And so that's a lot of episodes, and I can't remember exactly everything that I have discussed and talked about. My health condition also doesn't help with that. So my apologies. I just don't have the best memory at times. So just in case I haven't, I'm going to go ahead and discuss this and talk about this because a lot of people are asking this question of why am I delayed stepping into my marriage? So I absolutely want to address this, and there are several reasons as to why this could be. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. And if there are any additional questions, please feel free to email me at byhisgracemarriage@gmail.com. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So the number one reason why we are sometimes delayed into stepping into anything that Yah has for us, but into our marriages, is because we have an adversary that opposes anything that comes from Yah, and anything that is a threat to him, he is going to try and stop. Can he stop it from happening? No. Can he delay it? Yes, he can. And one of the biggest ways, and what gives the enemy access to stop, or not stop, I'm sorry, let me correct myself. I just said he can't stop it. What gives him access to delay something from happening can actually be, in fact, ourselves. And what I mean by that is if we are in some kind of active sin, if we are in some kind of counterfeit situation or relationship, this gives the enemy access to delay us even more from obtaining the things that Yahuwah has for us, okay? So when it comes to marriages, remember that I said that, especially with men, Satan has this tactic where he ensnares and traps men through temptations and through lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, and which then leads to counterfeit relationships, okay? And this can happen to women too. Women have gone into counterfeit relationships, lustful relationships, adulterous relationships, whatever you want to call it. And what happens is that when we are in relationships we're not supposed to be in, this will absolutely delay you from stepping into the right relationship, into the marriage that Yahuwah has for you, okay? And the thing is that when we are in these counterfeit relationships, they cause all kind of trauma and damage and things like that people then, once they finally come out of that, they need healing. And so that's the next thing that can delay us from stepping into our marriages, is there's certain healing that needs to take place before you can step into that marriage. Because remember, and I've said this many times, there are certain things that you have to heal, certain areas of your life before stepping into your marriage, because if you bring those certain things into your marriage, it can really damage and impact your marriage in a negative way. There are some things that you and your spouse will help each other heal within your marriage, okay? But there are certain things that have to be taken care of first, okay? And a lot of that comes from when people come out of wrong relationships, especially depending on how serious the relationship was, how long it lasted, how far did it get, were there certain things involved, finances, were they living together, did they have children together? There's different levels. And again, this is what the enemy does to try to keep men and women, but mostly men, from their rightful relationships, their rightful marriages, okay? And again, a counterfeit relationship can destroy and ruin a person's life, depending, again, how far that relationship got. And I've sadly seen people where they've been in this relationship for years, on and off. They have had, a child or children with this person, or they lived with them, or they supported them financially, or, to where it makes it even harder for them to get out of that relationship. Okay, so the number one biggest delay is that when we're in wrong relationships, okay? And again, this is one of Satan's biggest tactics to keep us from the marriage union that Yahuwah has, okay? And I can tell you this firsthand because I went through it. I got involved with somebody for several years of my life, on and off, and it was a very toxic relationship. And I did have my son with this person, and praise Yah that he helped me to see that was not what he had for my life. He helped me to get out of it, and then I repented. I turned away from it. I never went back to this person. Yahuwah helped heal me of any feelings that I still have for this person, and I was able to come out of that. And I give all thanks and glory to Yah for that, because that's a tough situation. Again, depending on the severity, the feelings that have developed, there's so many things that come from that, which is why Scripture says, do not awaken love before it's time. This is why Scripture says that sex outside of marriage is a sin, because these things have a powerful, powerful impact on individuals. And when you do it in the wrong relationships and with the wrong people, it can destroy your life. Okay? So this is why many people are delayed. Or even if one spouse is like, I've been waiting to step in my marriage for 3 years now, more than likely they're waiting because their spouse that Yah has chosen for them is still stuck in a counterfeit relationship. And I've seen this often. And the same thing happened to me. So that's definitely a huge reason for delays, is these counterfeit situations that people get mixed up in and involved in. So that's why it's so important to pray over your spouse, even if you don't know who they are, because you don't know if it's that they're stuck in some kind of counterfeit relationship, or they're blinded, or they're trapped. You don't know. So that's why it's so important that you pray for them and over them. Okay. The next reason for delays is either you or your spouse are in some kind of active sin that you need to turn away from and repent. When we are in active sin, Yahuwah cannot bless us. Okay. He cannot, how can I say this? Light doesn't go with darkness, right? And so it's going to be difficult for Yahuwah to bless you with the things he has for you when you are living in sin. Okay, and again, going back to what I just said about counterfeit relationships, most of the time people are in sin because they're sleeping with these people, right? That's sexual sin. But if you're in any other kind of sin, and it could be, anything that is counted as sin. If you are living an active, sinful lifestyle, that can definitely be a cause to why your blessings are being detained or why they're being delayed. One of them being your marriage. Yahuwah wants to bring you into your marriage in his perfect timing, but he also wants to bring you in where you're not in some kind of active sin, or you don't have some kind of wickedness still involved, or you know what I mean? He wants you to have this beautiful experience and opportunity without any of those things going on. Because there are so many things that, again, can destroy a marriage, okay? And when you're in active sin, or, it could be an addiction you have, it could be, I mean, there's so many things, right? And if you bring that into the marriage that he's calling you into, right, you're automatically going to start off on the wrong foot when you enter in your marriage, and he doesn't want that for you. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, or hang on here. Sorry. Let me strike that. Let me start again. Let me start over. Your marriage will not be perfect, but Yahuwah wants you to have a blessed marriage. And if you can step into your marriage healed where you need to be at, no act of sin, things like that, the better it is for you and your spouse, so that your marriage can start on a healthy foundation. There's no secrets, there's no sinful life, there's no addiction and things like that. These things need to be taken care of beforehand, okay? Another reason for a delay is you could be in a relationship and you're under the impression this is the person that you are to marry, and in fact, it's not. This happens to a lot of people where they feel that Yah has spoken to them that this is their spouse, but it's not. And yes, this can happen. It's important to know and be familiar with Yah's voice and how he reveals things, because remember that the enemy is a master deceiver. And he likes to use counterfeit stuff, so he will make things seem as if it was from the Father. Another thing too is it could just be our own flesh. It could just be our mind. It could be our hearts. Our hearts can mislead us. We cannot trust these things. It could be friends and family telling you, hey, you should totally be with this person, and y'all would make a great couple, and I can just totally see it and I can feel it. And listen, you can't go by what people say. You have to get the confirmation from Yah. He has to confirm it. And I think I did do an episode about how Yah confirms when this is your spouse. I think I have done an episode on that. So I'll double check. If I haven't, then that'll be the next one. But oftentimes, or people will be given false prophecy. They'll tell them, oh, this is your spouse, this is going to be your spouse. And then they meet somebody following that description and they're like, oh, this is my spouse. And then years go by and nothing's happened. And then they're devastated. They're heartbroken because they were told, and here's the thing, brothers and sisters, you have to remember there's a lot of false prophecies out there. There's a lot of false teachers. There's just so much going on right now. There's people who mean well, but they will mislead you by their own opinions. Our flesh can mislead us, our hearts. You have to be very careful. You need to take these things back to Yah in prayer and let him reveal to you, yes, this is the person, or no, this isn't. And believe me, and I've said this before, you will know when the person is your spouse. You will know. And there won't be any mistakes. You will recognize them by your spirit, and Yah will confirm it to you in different ways, okay? But that's another reason for delay, is that you're waiting on somebody that isn't your spouse. And that's what's causing the delay. And essentially, you're blocking the actual person who Yah actually has for you. Like, he's probably ready to connect the two of you, but because you're focused on somebody else, or again, like I said before, you're stuck in a counterfeit relationship, or, we miss these things. I can't tell you how many people have missed out on their blessings because it didn't look how they thought it was going to look, or it didn't sound how they thought it was going to sound. Stop listening to man. Stop listening to loved ones, right? Stop listening to your heart and your flesh. It's one of the biggest lies that our society tells us. Our society tells us to follow our hearts. No, do not follow your hearts. Your hearts will mislead you faster than anything else, honestly. You need to pray and ask Yah to reveal to you who the person is, and when it's time for him to do so. When he connects the two of you, he will make it clear to you both. He will make it clear to you both. Now, is there a possibility that even when he does that, one spouse could actually miss it? Yes. Because if they're distracted at some point, or they're refusing to listen and see what Yah's trying to show them and tell them, there are stubborn people out there. Yes, people can miss it. And then Yah's going to kind of, or the Holy Spirit's got to kind of work on them a little bit. So that could delay it as well. Another thing that can delay is fear, confusion, all of those negative things. Pride can get in the way as well. So say for example, right? Let's just say the man knows, right? Yah's made it clear to him that this is his wife, but he's scared. Maybe he's afraid of rejection. Maybe something happened in the past, or maybe something happened with that person that maybe he's having a hard time trying to figure out how to approach her. And I understand men don't have it easy. They're the ones doing the approaching and the pursuing, and I know it's not always easy. But like I've said to men, when you are pursuing your wife, you're not going to be rejected unless for some reason Yah has not revealed to your wife yet. But it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for Yah to only tell one spouse and not the other. So more than likely, if he's let you know, that he's let the other spouse know as well. And he will tell you when to pursue. He will tell you, okay, now's the time. You just got to listen and be in tune with Yah. You just got to pray and keep seeking him on the matter. But when that time comes, sometimes what happens is that these men become fearful. They're afraid of rejection. They're afraid they're going to look stupid. Insecurities, hurt, confusion. Maybe you're still confused. You feel like, yes, this is my wife. I know what Yah's told me, but then maybe you've got people in your ear telling you otherwise, or maybe you still have problems coming up from your past that you have to tie up all the loose ends, and that's one of the reasons why sometimes it takes a while for things to come together, because sometimes one spouse may have a little more problems than the other, and they need to get all that stuff worked out and taken care of first. But that takes longer if we're not obedient to what Yah's telling us to do. If Yah tells you get rid of your Facebook because it's causing all of these delays and distractions, get rid of your Facebook. If Yah tells you to get out of that relationship, you need to get out of that relationship. If Yah tells you to move, you need to move. If Yah tells you go talk to this person, go talk to them. We need to be obedient to what he's telling us to do and trust in him. But when we aren't obedient, or we're scared, or we're confused still, that puts even more delay on the process. And a lot of times people are saying, I'm still waiting on Yah, I'm still waiting on the Father. And really, in fact, he's waiting on you. That's the reality. The reality is he's waiting on you. And there's something going on that is stopping you. There's a block, right? Which leads me to my next thing. Another reason for delay is spiritual warfare. There is, like I said, the enemy opposes everything and anything that comes from Yah. Sometimes too, what can block it? Okay, so I said sin, generational curses can block it. Curses, regular curses, people can speak against your marriage. Witchcraft as well can do it. I mean, there's so many things. If you still have a soul tie that you haven't been broken from, you need to break that. That can delay you as well. Remember that there's a spiritual side of things. There's a spiritual world. And everything happens in the spiritual first before it does in the physical. So you have to remember that if you have anything lingering, if you have any kind of bondage, spiritual bondage, soul ties, things like that, you need to be broken from those things, and you need to heal from those things first. So definitely a number one delay can be spiritual blockages, spiritual attacks, spiritual warfare. And I can go into more detail about that, but for the sake of time, I can't. So if you have questions regarding that, please reach out to me, and I'd be happy to talk to you concerning those things. Let me see if I left out anything. I think that's it. Again, I think a lot of the time Yah is usually waiting on us, and people feel like they're waiting on Yah, which can be the case because his timing is different from ours, but oftentimes he's waiting on us. Oftentimes we're the ones that's delaying our own blessings and our lives from happening. Some people are just flat out stubborn too, and some people just choose their own free will over Yah's. And that's the honest truth. And then, they come back around to Yah when things don't work out, or things are chaotic and crazy and miserable. And then they're angry at Yah. They're asking him why it's like that. And Yah's saying, hey, this isn't what I had for you. It isn't anything I ever wanted you to have. But you chose it. Or you didn't want to listen to me, or you didn't want to be patient, or Because that's what happens. People become impatient. They see it happening to everybody else around them. They feel pressure from society. They lose faith. They waver. There's just so many things that happen to people, unfortunately. And, they say that good things come to those that wait. And it's true, especially concerning your marriage. And I think what sets up a lot of people too for disappointment is that, and I was talking about this recently, people will have this fantasy or this vision about who they're going to marry and what it's going to be like. They'll make a list about all of these qualities and things that they want in their spouse, and let me tell you something. If you're going by your own free will, yeah, by all means, you can do that and try to find that person that matches what you want. But when you're in Yah's will, that's not how it works. It's not how it works. Yah has in mind everything that he's going to have for you, and that's going to be in your life, including your spouse, before you're even born. And we can't manipulate Yah to change his mind or to move things around so that they're the way that we want them to be. We all want things by a certain time. People want to be married by a certain age. They want to have children by a certain age, a successful career by a certain age. And, they want to call the shots, and they want to say, I want my spouse to be like this, and I want this many kids, and it has to be 2 boys and 2 girls. And no, when you're in Yah's will, it's what he has for you. And we've got to learn to be content and joyful in whatever he gives us or doesn't give us. But I think one of the biggest mistakes is people set themselves up, and then they're disappointed because they have these expectations. And I did an episode recently about this, about having expectations and how it really misleads us. Yes, pray for your spouses. Even when you don't know them, pray for them. But pray for things, pray for their heart, pray for their protection, pray for their relationship with the Father and with Yeshua. Pray for their salvation. Pray that they know what their calling is. Pray that they have a solid relationship and that they're following Yah's will for their life and not their own. Pray against evil, pray against wickedness and things like that. Don't pray, I hope he has, sandy blonde hair and he's really tall and has beautiful blue eyes and has an incredible build and drives a Ferrari and has this really amazing corporate job and he makes 6 figures. And no, that falls under that prosperity gospel and that name it and claim it crap that goes on in Christianity. And people have to stop doing that. And instead of praying things like that, pray, Yah, help me to prepare to be a godly wife. Yah, help me to prepare to be a godly husband. Yah, whatever you have for me that you're bringing me into, whatever's your purpose for my life, help me to prepare for that. Help me to be the wife that my husband needs. Help me to be the husband that my wife needs. Help me to be the mother that my children or my future children need. Or help me to be the father that my children or my future children need. Help me to understand your calling on my life. Things like that. None of this name it, claim it crap about, I'm going to, be at this place by this time. And, my person's going to have all these qualities and, all of these things. It's not right. And you're trying to manipulate Yah and you're making him to be like he's a genie or something. And he's not. Be thankful for what Yah is going to bring to you if he does. Be thankful for who he's chosen for you. Don't try to change those things. And when we pray like that, we're in error. And that is another thing that can seriously delay us from what Yah has for us. We need to just pray according to his will is what I'm trying to say. Don't pray according to your will. Pray according to his will. His will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Not my will be done, but your will be done. How can we say that when then we're turning around and we're praying according to our own desires and our own wills? Or we're doing this name it, claim it stuff, right? Or prosperity gospels and things like that. We cannot mix those. And when we do that, we are delaying even more what Yah has for us. So those are the main reasons for delays. And that doesn't just pertain to relationships and marriages. That can pertain to a lot of things. but a lot of people are being misled by a lot of false doctrines. And I've been talking about this a lot lately, and this is no different. Trust in Yah that He knows what you need. He knows what you want. He knows what's best for you. And He knows the plans for your life. If we can trust Him with everything else, how can we not trust Him with who He's going to bring us together with? Ladies, remember that He's going to give you to one of His sons that He knows is best for you. Husbands, remember, He's going to give you one of His daughters. He's going to give away one of His daughters to you that He knows is best for you. Yah's not going to be careless in this kind of choice and decision. But you know what happens when we become impatient and we don't understand and we want things our way? Everything that I just mentioned is what happens. We become active in sin. We end up getting mixed up in counterfeit relationships that can essentially destroy our lives. So many things can happen when we don't want to be patient and trust in the Father. He has good things for us. And concerning marriage, if you are called to marriage, He has a beautiful marriage for you. He has one of His sons or one of His daughters for you to give to you, right? So that you will serve His kingdom together, and so that you can testify how great He is because He brought the two of you together. And the amazing, incredible things that the two of you will do together, the way you'll serve the body, the beautiful babies you'll have and raise up to be warriors and children of Yah, and all these things in between. Trust in Him. I know it sounds corny, but trust in Yah to write your love story, and be patient. I know it's hard when you're seeing it happen all around you and not to you. And I know it's hard when there's delays or there's obstacles or blockages. You have to pray against these things and pray and ask Yah to show you if there's anything you're not recognizing, so that you can work on those things, so that you're no longer delayed. And most importantly, pray for your spouse. Even if you don't know them yet, pray for them. If you do know them and you are aware of their situation, pray like you've never prayed before. Pray over them every single day by name. Pray over the specific things that you know they're struggling with. And pray that nothing wicked comes up against your marriage union. A lot of prayer, a lot of battling through prayer for your marriage, because remember, the enemy doesn't want you to step into this beautiful union that Yah has for you, because you're going to advance the kingdom. It's for Yah's purpose. It's not just for our wants and desires and things like that. There's a bigger purpose, and it's to advance Yah's kingdom and to have, bring in more children for Yah. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you have any additional questions or concerns or anything like that, please feel free to email me, and I would love to help you where I can. But yeah, that is it for tonight's message. I pray that it's a source of encouragement and that it helps those that have been wondering about this and asking these questions. So that is it this evening. I hope to be back soon to do episode 2 of the Setting Boundaries series. Again, this one's taken me a little bit longer to prepare for, so please bear with me. And I appreciate your patience and understanding concerning that. So, all right, that's it. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk with you in my next episode. Shalom.